Welcome to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, a homeschool mom, entrepreneur, and educator with over 20 years of experience in the areas of elementary and special education. It's my mission to help you create lifelong learners and embrace a holistic approach to education at home. I'll be sharing practical strategies, inspiration, and resources to support your family. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, or balancing work and homeschool, you're in the right place to connect with a community that values education just as much as you do. Join us each week as we ditch the stress, embrace the joy of learning, and set your family up for a lifetime of success. Hi, friend. How are you? Welcome to another episode of Home Education with Ease. We are in our summer short series where we are diving into short, intentional episodes for you because we know that summertime can be busy and we're keeping them nice and short so then that way you can still have some great takeaways. And today we're diving into screen time with purpose. Last episode, we really talked about how are we taking our time throughout the summer and all of these outings and field trips and really turning them into educational moments. And we talked about how all the things that we do around museum trips or field trips or, going for a walk and going to the park, going to the pool. How can you turn all of those fun summer things into an educational moment? And we talked all about that last episode, so be sure to check that out. This episode, we're really diving into screen times, and there is no guilt around this episode at all because we all use them, or we might all use them, we might not, and we might use them differently. Today, I'm going to share with you my take on screens and how we use them in our house with purpose. And we're intentional with our screens. And I'm going to share that with you over this episode and how you can do that for the summer and throughout any time of the year. These are definitely tips that can be used any time of the year. But I would love to know, in our Facebook group, Home Education with Ease, what are some of your kids' favorite screen time shows or learning apps? What does that look like for you and your family? Do you guys do screens a lot? Is that something that you limit? And what are some of those that you have in your home? Because there's always new shows and new apps coming out, new channels on YouTube. And it's such a wonderful opportunity for us to share what we have and how we can share that with other families. So I would love to know that in the Home Education with Ease group. What does screen time look like for you? So again, this is not in any means to cause any shame or guilt or tell you need to get rid of the screens. That's not it, because I will be honest with you right now. My children are on screens. They're watching shows while I record episodes in the summertime. And they can do that anytime, right? Any time of the year while I'm recording and I know that I need some dedicated focus time, a show is an option because it's something that I know they're going to be into, but I also make sure that we're intentional with it. I also make sure that it's something, not always, I don't want to say always, make sure it's something educational because it's not always educational, but I know what they're watching. And that to me is very important. Making sure that we're monitoring what our children are watching because there is so much stuff out there. And you have to make sure that it aligns with your family's values, right? Your family's values might be different than my family's values. So what you say is appropriate for your family may be different than mine. So I'm going to share some of my recommendations, but I would love some of yours. I would love some of the options and the shows and the apps that you have found that you like as well. But we also know that we all have different, views on things. What may be appropriate in one house may not be appropriate, and that's okay. But sometimes I know that we do need that little break. If you are a homeschool mom, your kids are with you all the time. And that break may be an educational app. That may be an educational show. and then maybe a show for entertainment. Again, making sure that we're watching and monitoring what they are watching. And I'll give you an example. Whenever my kids were a little bit younger, I would always say to them, all right, I want you to watch a Wild Kratts show, and that's one of our favorites. I'll share that with you. And then you both can pick a show that you like. Now, way back when, it would only be one show, right? It was only one show because that's all they needed. And I would have them ask each other. I remember when Ella was probably, maybe 4, and Alex may have been 2. Alex had no idea, right? He didn't have an opinion about what was on TV at that time. But I remember having Ella ask him and say, hey, buddy, do you mind if we watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? And he'd say, yeah, that's fine, And then I would let Alex pick, like, hey, buddy, do you want to watch Paw Patrol or Mickey Mouse? And if it was Paw Patrol, I'd say, okay, ask Ella if she wants to watch Paw Patrol. And it was allowing them to kind of compromise and come to an agreement on what they were watching and just kind of build that relationship between them. Not, I want to watch this and they're not letting me watch this. It was, we're going to agree on this together and we're going to watch this together. Now, my kids are 8 and 10. So those differences have grown apart now a little bit, where Ella might prefer a show that is more realistic, where Alex may still enjoy some cartoons. And now we've gotten to that point where it's, okay, Alex, you can watch your show, and Ella, you can go watch your show. And allowing them to have that space, but they still do enjoy watching things together as well. So there's definitely a lot of ways that you can navigate this. And I know for us, sometimes those learning apps are a great opportunity for them to work independently while I work on business tasks, or while I tutor, or while I record videos. Same thing with a show or a movie. Sometimes it's educational, or sometimes it needs to be a little bit longer. And sure, you can watch and enjoy a movie today. It's a rainy day. It doesn't have to be a rainy day, right? We're in Georgia, so during the day, it's hot. And you're going to be going outside in the morning or in the evening, and maybe in the middle of the day, that looks like a movie because it's too hot to be outside unless you're in the pool. So again, just navigating this to best fit your family's needs. So we're going to talk about some of these shows that I really do like. So think about how we're going to kind of gauge this as like good, better, and best, right? These kind of screens and how we can kind of grade them, if you will. So good would be entertaining but calm. So I want you to think about your kids, and I want you to monitor it, right? Because I know for us, one Saturday morning, they woke up and they said, hey, can we watch a show? And I said, sure, that's fine. We're going to sleep in. Go ahead, you go watch a show. That morning and into the afternoon, their behavior was not what it typically is. They were more whiny. They were not able to listen to directions the first time. They were not following directions. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I need you to take a step back and look at what's happening right now. And I made them understand what is going on. You woke up and went straight to a screen, and that affected your focus. That affected your mood. That affected your ability to listen. And I said, we're not doing that anymore. So that's something for us in our house. That's what I pay attention to. They don't get screens right away in the morning because I know how it affects their behavior. It may not be the same in your house. But if you do start seeing a lot of behavior issues, if you start seeing focus be a problem, if you start hearing a little bit more talking back or whining, take a look at what they're watching, what they're listening to, at what time of the day. All of these things definitely play a part. And I want you to consider this for summer. Like I said, this is any time of the year, but consider for summer, we go from a very strict schedule from the school year, and this could be anyone. This could be kids that are in school, or this could be homeschool families, right? And maybe like us, we homeschool throughout the whole year. However, our summer is a little bit more laxed, where we don't stick to the schedule as much as normal. But I've heard from other families, they say, well, I wanted to give them a break. So I didn't limit screen times and I didn't limit the video games. But what I'm seeing is behaviors. And I'm seeing this situation, whatever that is. And it's an opportunity then to say, all right, let's pull back on freedom of screens, because our kids still want routine. They still want structure. So maybe that's limiting it. And maybe it's you have to read first, you have to practice your math facts, you have to do your morning chores, and then you get an hour before lunch. Or you get 2 hours in the afternoon, and that's it. So it's not saying we're taking it all the way away, but we're saying there's going to be limits, and you're going to have to know also what they're watching. Because if something is entertaining but fast pace, that could be affecting their focus and their brain. Think about video games, how fast paced they are. It's dopamine driven, and it can impact their focus, their behavior, and their attention spans. So pay attention to that, be able to monitor it and say, it could be the screens. And what can we do to balance that out? Is that, like I said, a morning routine? Or is that, all right, you're going to play outside in the morning, and then you're going to have time to read, and then you can do screens for an hour or half an hour, whatever it is. Obviously, it's different as well, depending on the ages of your kids. I do not recommend screens for younger kiddos. I see it all too often where our kids are handed a screen while they're at the grocery store or in the car or at the restaurant. And I just don't like it at all. I want to see families communicating with each other, and I want to see the kids engaging. That's why I've created the EduPlay Learning curriculum. There's our activities that can be taken anywhere. There are ideas that I share on my YouTube channel, on the podcast here, that can be done anywhere. And allowing us as parents to entertain our kids in multiple ways, in multiple situations. So if you need some of those ideas, please go back and look at some of the previous episodes, check out the YouTube channel, EduPlay Learning, or reach out to me specifically so I can share some ideas for your kids' age and ability, because I know that plays into a part as well, where not every kid is the same. And how can I entertain my child based on age or ability? So please, I would love to be able to help you with that, but kind of keep that in mind. Even I know for sometimes when we go to the restaurant, sometimes one, it could take forever. Two, maybe we do need a break. And there, again, no judgment at all. Never, ever is there any judgment from me when it comes to anything with our kids. I truly am here to support you and encourage you right where you are. But if you are experiencing stress or overwhelm or behavior issues or, inability to learn, that's when I dive in and I say, okay, let's take a deeper look at what are some of the things that are going on and how can we adapt and change to make sure that you're setting your kids up for success, you're setting yourself up for success. Because no mom wants to be completely overwhelmed, exhausted, or stressed out all the time. I know I don't want to be like that. So I'm always here to offer that encouragement and support to be able to meet families right where they're at. So for us, I know that there are some days when it's been a long day, whether we've been out running errands or sometimes when we go to Costco, it's right after church. Maybe they didn't eat a great lunch. And, I'm like, listen, just sit in the cart and here, watch a PBS show, a show on PBS channel, right? Or a Wild Kratts, or, right, giving them something intentional. And it allows us to go grocery shopping, or it allows my husband and I just to kind of recharge at the restaurant for a few minutes while they're being entertained. So again, it's all based on your family, when you need it, and just being intentional with that and doing it on purpose and knowing what they are watching. So again, let's go back to that kind of grading of like, all right, it's entertaining, but maybe it's fast paced. Maybe you need to choose something that's a little bit more calm. So think about nature shows, cartoons that are not quick moving and full of color. That can really impact our children because it's too fast paced. So look at things that are maybe a little bit slower. And I can share some of those ideas with you on social media as well. The other thing are some basic phonics apps. There's a lot of good ones. I know some of my clients use Preschool Prep. I know some of my clients use ABC Mouse. We've used Reading Eggs. So again, some of those apps that are educational, but not too overwhelming. So it gives a break, but it's still not stressing our kids out. Then think about something that's maybe a little bit better. So maybe an audiobook or a story that someone's reading a story. I know I have a lot of those on the EduPlay Learning YouTube channel where I sit and I read stories with the kids. And I do that based on the themes that I have within the EduPlay Learning curriculum for that week. Maybe some documentaries about animals or plants or different locations or whatever topic you're learning about. I know one of the activities that we loved, or one of the channels that we loved, was Mother Goose Club. And that one was so good for my kids reading because it had the words on the screen. It was all the nursery rhymes. So it was a lot of rhyming. And it just kind of, again, we were intentional with it. It wasn't on all the time. So that's something too, is we're like, okay, we're going to watch 1 to 2 episodes and then we're going to turn it off. And then on the alternative is what I had was music. I had toddler tunes playing. So it was pretty much the same thing that they were hearing in that Mother Goose Club, because they were the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, the ABCs, Happy and You Know It. But it was just music. There was no video for them to see. They were able to hear it. So, and sometimes we compare those kind of activities. I know I've done this for my own kids, is here's a Spanish video. So they're watching it and they're listening and it's educational, but I'd be fine if they were coloring, if they were playing with blocks, because it gave them an opportunity to hear it, look up and see what was on TV or the screen, but they were still doing something else. They were still engaging. So that's another option. And then the best kind of option would be something that's interactive, full of purpose. The EduPlay Learning videos are just that, where I guide you and your kids through these learning activities, where we get to sing songs together. We get to make a craft together. We get to read a story together. So it's an opportunity for me to connect with your children virtually, but it's also an opportunity for you to connect with your child right there by doing these videos, by doing these activities together. So that's where the Reading Fundamentals program has come in, the EduPlay Learning activity kits, and the curriculum has come in, because I record these videos for families and I say, here's what you need to do, because I get all the time, I'm not a teacher, Christine. I don't know how to teach my child. I don't know what to teach my child. Well, then that's where I come in. I get to share with you activities and ideas and allow you to enjoy that time with your child without having to worry about, how do I do it? What do I do? Am I doing a good enough job? I line it all out for you so you can just enjoy that time with your kids. So I would love to invite you to check out the EduPlay Learning activity kits. Check out the Reading Fundamentals program. There is a link in the show notes below where you can fill out a form and you can share your experience, your educational goals with me. and I can find the program that best fits your family. Because again, every family has their own situations. Every child is a different age, and you might have multiple children of different ages in your home. You might have different abilities. You might not want to homeschool, but you need extra things for the summer. I got it all to be able to help you and meet you where you're at. So check that link in the show notes below, fill out that form, and I'll reach out to you and we will jump on a call and we will talk about all of the different EduPlay Learning programs and the one that best fits your family. So let's talk about what can we do this summer with screens and how can we be intentional? Well, first we can set that intention for our kids. All right. What, by turning on the TV or the screens, what is the goal here? Is it to give them some time and something to do while I work on something else? Is it educational? Is it an opportunity to come together where we're going to sit down and we're going to learn together? Is it a time where everyone just needs a break? Or is it a time where everyone is kind of stressed and we need to turn it off? And look at that. What does that look like? Look at the screen time, map it out for your family, set up that schedule of being intentional with it. The TV is on from this time to this time. Or you know what? If they've turned it on at this time and it's still on, you're like, you know what? The TV has been on long enough. You guys have watched enough. It's easy to binge watch anything now. And our kids know that. And so it's easy to just go to the next episode and the next episode without even realizing it. So being intentional with what they're watching, being intentional with the time, and what's the purpose? And then again, with that intentionality, I guess, is what are they watching? Preview it, review it. And if you do see something that maybe you don't agree with, doesn't go with your values, discuss it. Have those conversations. And it opens the door to those conversations. Because again, for me, it's not about necessarily, kind of keeping them in a bubble. They know about all these things that are happening. But I'm very intentional about what goes in their mind, what they're watching, what they're listening to, who they're around, because all of that plays a part on their development. So keeping those things in mind as well. And then maybe creating a list of shows and apps that you recommend, that you approve of, and these are the things that you can watch during this time. Maybe it is educational first, and then maybe in the afternoon, it's entertainment. And allowing our kids to know what is on that list and when are they allowed to watch it. So keep those things in mind. If you are looking for a list of recommended screens, you can join us in the Home Education with Ease Facebook group. You can send me a DM screen on all the social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So all of these links are in the show notes below, and I would love for you to check them out. You can check out the YouTube channel. You can definitely find some shows there. I started Start Your Day with EduPlay in 2020, and I may bring that back. So be on the lookout for that. That was where, and it's in the Home Education with Ease Facebook group. I'll actually share that in there because starting in May of 2020 all the way until June, every week and every day, I should say, every week was a new idea, but every day for 3 months, I went live in that Facebook group. So there are tons of videos and resources that you can check out with your kids. May not be the best video quality. Things have changed in the past 5 years, but the content's there. I would do calendar with the kids. I would sit there and read a story. We would do movement. We would come up with crafts and activities. So definitely check that out for sure. And then stay tuned because it may come back in the fall because it really, really is near and dear to my heart to be able to provide families with intentional screen time and educational activities for their kids. Thank you guys so much. I hope you're having a fabulous, fabulous summer. Don't forget to check those links in the show notes about EduPlay Learning activity kits, about the reading fundamentals. Join the Facebook group Home Education with Ease to share with us about your screens in your home, of what some of the things that you recommend, and if you are looking for a list of educational resources. Well, thanks guys so much. Next week, we'll be talking about early literacy. And then at the end of the month, I have a special guest that's going to be sharing all about how her child has began to read with the Reading Fundamentals program. So stay tuned for those and have a wonderful day. Remember, see each moment as a chance to learn, create, and have fun. Bye, friends. Thank you for tuning in to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling empowered and ready to take the next steps on your home education journey. Your support means the world to me. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. For even more resources, be sure to join the free Facebook group, Home Education with Ease, and visit eduplaylearning.com to explore programs and subscription kits. You can find the links and any other links mentioned in this episode in the show notes below. Remember, you're not alone. This community is here to support you every step of the way.